Hey guys, it's Jake here with eTrailer. Today we have a 2019 Chevrolet Traverse and we're going to be taking a look at and I'm going to show you how to install the eTrailer Class 3 2-inch hitch receiver. Now right off the bat you're going to notice this large opening in your bumper. All Traverses will have this opening, and that is to be able to take this cover off so you can use your hitch, or when you're not using it, pop it back into place and then you'll never see that hitch. So it's just like it was from the factory. Our hitch receiver will have a 2-inch by 2-inch opening, which is going to be great for many different accessories. 2-inch is going to be the most common size, so you can use it for bike racks, cargo carriers, or if you want to tow a small trailer. That's what the owner of this vehicle is using it for, so they also paired it with the 4-pole wiring, which will just plug and play right into the back of your Traverse. It'll come standard also with a 5-inch hitch pin hole. The hitch pin and clip do not come with the hitch, but we have plenty of them on our website, locking and non-locking. It's going to have a hoop style safety chain loop that will fit safety chains of many different sizes, shapes. You can see there we can put 2 on at the same time, so you should be able to fit pretty large safety chains on there if you have those on your trailer. Now some measurements for you guys so you know what you're getting. From the ground to the top inside of the receiver tube, it's going to be about 21 inches. That's pretty high off the ground, so you shouldn't have to worry about any ground clearance when or bottoming out when having an accessory in here. I definitely recommend if you use this for a cargo carrier, you are going to have, typically it's going to have a 2-inch rise naturally in the cargo carrier, so you want to watch how high you stack the load on the carrier so that you still get your rear hatch open. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost part of our bumper, it's going to be about 2 inches. It's not too far, so you should have no problem with most of our accessories being able to fold up in the stowed position when you're not using them. This hitch is going to be rated for 750 pounds max tongue weight. That is the pressure on the inside of the receiver tube. That goes for your cargo carriers, which you shouldn't really have an issue with that either because there's not many cargo carriers that can even get up to that capacity. And the gross trailer weight rating that this can tow is going to be 5,000 pounds. That is the load plus the trailer's weight included. You just want to keep in mind, check with the owner's manual of your Traverse and what your submodel is capable of towing before you hook up to that trailer. Now, as far as the installation goes, to get this hitch installed, you will have to remove your fascia. It's not too bad. Hopefully I'm able to walk you through it pretty clearly. This is definitely an installation that you can do in your garage at home. That is the nice part about it being behind the fascia, but hopefully I'm able to help you. If you follow along with me, we should be able to get it done. To begin our installation, we're going to have 2 plastic caps back here that we're going to have to pop loose because there's some bolts behind it that we need to get out. We're just using a pick, anything to get behind here. You can use a small flathead screwdriver, and there you can see the bolt. So we'll pop both of these loose. I will take a 7mm socket and get these 2 screws removed. Now you want to take a T15 Torx bit and remove these lower screws on both sides of the vehicle. Now underneath, we're going to have 2 more T15 screws that we'll have to remove. We have 1 on each side. Now we're going to have some screws here in our wheel well on each side that we'll have to remove with that same T15 Torx bit. Next step in our process, we're going to have to peel this black plastic piece back. But before we do that, we're going to tape off our joints here so that we don't risk scratching anything when we go to take this fascia off. Remove this piece. We'll just want to pull our hands behind, put your hands behind that black plastic piece, pull back. You'll see these little tabs that'll pop loose. Those come off pretty easily if you just pop them loose from behind. But up here, there's going to be a push pin fastener. It's a little bit harder to get out, and we don't want to kink this black piece because it'll leave a white mark on it. So we'll come up behind it with a trim panel tool or a screwdriver if that's all you got, and just simply pry out and pop it loose. Now behind here, you'll see a 7mm screw that we need to remove. Now we'll have 3 more screws on each side we'll have to remove. We'll take this one out of the bottom of our mud flap. But they're all going to be that same T15 screw. Now with the mud flap out of the way, we've got 1 more here and here. Now with an extra set of hands on the other side of our vehicle, we've got Aiden helping us out here. You'll want to take your fingers, slide them behind this piece, and then just push off of the upper part, and you should be able to get this to pop loose. These aren't too bad. They come off pretty easily. And then once you get it to this point, this piece right here can be difficult to pry loose, and then there's going to be the same style clips all along this edge. So the best way to do it is just work at it, pulling gently on different parts of it. There we go. Yep, now we got it popped loose. We're gonna have some wiring over on our driver's side. You wanna pop this red tab back, push down on that, and then pull out. Now we'll set this fascia somewhere safe until we can get our hitch installed. Now we're going to take a cam buckle strap, or you can use a ratchet strap too. You just need something to help hold this exhaust up because we're going to be loosening it here in a minute. But we'll take this strap, want to put it under the exhaust like that. It'll just help to hold it so you don't put any unnecessary stress on the hangers further forward on the vehicle. Now we'll take a 15mm socket, get the 2 nuts removed on the top and the 2 bolts removed from our exhaust hanger. Now when you remove the last nut, you want to be sure to put a hand on the bumper beam because it may fall out. You don't want that falling down on you. Sometimes they're stuck. There we go. We'll set this to the side. We will not be reinstalling it. Now that we've got our bumper beam out of the way, we'll take our hitch, slide it up over our studs. You want to make sure that your hangers are out of the way. Get that lined up over the studs, and then put your 4 nuts back on top. You want to just barely get them started because we're going to need a little bit of this wiggle room to get our hardware run down through the frame. Next thing we're going to need to do is we'll take our fish wires. You're going to go through this hole and try to come out the holes in our frame rail. You'll have 2 of them. They're down here. There's holes cut out in the heat shield so that you can get this hardware run. I found it best if you start with the further forward one, and you can kind of feel up in there. Just make sure if you're adjusting this hitch, don't get your finger caught in the hole. They have these little rubber nibs on the end so that you can easily slide it over the hitch and it doesn't get caught. But you'll just want to run it in there and try to get it to come out the hole. Now that we've got it to pull out the hole, we'll take a carriage bolt and a spacer block. You want to thread that on. And if you leave like one of these springs loose, it allows it to bend down into the hole a little bit better. We'll toss our spacer block in first, followed by our carriage bolt. And get it to pull out the hole down here at the end. Just like that. Once you have both sets of hardware run through the frame, I found that it helps if you push back on this hitch. It'll help to put a little bit of pressure on the bolt so that it doesn't go anywhere. But you want to pull your fish wire off. And then we'll put on a conical tooth washer with the teeth facing the bottom of the frame rail, and then follow that up with a nut. Now we're going to take a 3/4 inch socket and we're going to tighten and torque these 2 bolts on the bottom. The reason why you want to do this before you put the bolts in here is because if you lift this up, get it all bolted in place, you're not going to be able to fit a torque wrench in here. So we'll go ahead and get those torqued down. Now we're going to come back with a torque wrench and torque our lower hardware to the specifications in the instructions. Next step, you'll take your longer, smaller in diameter bolts with the smaller conical tooth washers. And we're going to get our exhaust mounted back up. You want to lift up on the exhaust, move it if you have to from side to side in order to get these bolts started. Then we can take a 17 millimeter socket and get them tightened down. Now we'll come back with a torque wrench and torque down the remaining hardware. Now that you've got everything torqued down, the last thing you need to do is just put your bumper back on the way that you took it off. I would recommend at this time, if you plan on ever towing the trailer while you've got the fascia off, your plug for your pre-wire is going to be right here. So I recommend it because it's this easy. I recommend just picking up the wiring, running it with the hitch. You just zip tie it to the top of the hitch and then hook it onto your one safety chain loop. You're probably never going to take your fascia off again, and it's a lot easier to get this plug installed with the fascia off than to have to reach up behind your muffler to get it later on. Now that we can go ahead and get everything buttoned back up. Well guys, hopefully this video helped you decide whether or not the eTrailer Class 3 trailer hitch receiver is right for you in your 2019 Chevrolet Traverse.